Day in court. 15 of his alleged victims are at a hearing happening right now, but not all of them want to speak. Prosecutors say even though Epstein is dead, this case itself is going to go forward and others could be charged. In court just a short time ago, Epstein's attorney said he did not appear to be despondent, suicidal at all when he met with them right before his death. The father, who's
unusual. Usually this is a victim impact statement that is given at the sentencing. There is no sentencing because there will no longer be a prosecution. So it's all very unprecedented and unusual, but we're really happy.
Attorney Gloria Allred, as she entered a New York court today, Allred is representing some of the victims of alleged sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. The judge overseeing the case invited the women to speak about the decision to dismiss the criminal indictment against Epstein. The financier killed himself in jail earlier this month. This case has also dragged in unwillingly Buckingham Palace. Prince Andrew has faced weeks of scrutiny over his friendship with Epstein. The second son of Queen Elizabeth even issued a statement earlier this month saying he wanted to clarify the facts around his relationship with Epstein. Roya Nika is the royal correspondent for the Sunday Times. I asked her what's next for Prince Andrew and the royal family.
Well, Prince Andrew has gone to great lengths, particularly recently in that extraordinary statement he put out on Saturday to try and distance himself from Jeffrey Epstein and his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, his friendship with him, that spanned many years. I mean, they first met in 1999. I think, obviously, all of this coming up again, the story hit quite hard a few years ago when Epstein was first tried and convicted. But this has really, reignited a lot of questions that still remain unanswered by the Duke of York, specifically, and still not answered by that statement that he put out on Saturday, why Prince Andrew continued to maintain a friendship with Jeffrey Epstein in 2010 and beyond that, after he'd already served time and been convicted. That's the question that still remains unanswered.
So how has his connection to Jeffrey Epstein harmed the image of the royal family?
Well, I mean, I think, the institution as a whole is pretty robust when it comes to negative headlines and scandalous stories, and this is certainly right up there with them. It's not great. Prince Andrew has had, it's been, over a month now, very negative coverage and very scandalous bits of information that keep coming out, more images, footage of him. That footage of him inside Jeffrey Epstein's home in 2010 in New York was quite an eye-opener, and I think prompted him to put out that statement at the end of last week. But the Queen so far seems to be, as much as we can see, standing by Prince Andrew. When those images first came out of him at Jeffrey Epstein's home in New York a couple of Sundays ago, the Queen travelled to church with him at Balmoral in the same car, and that was a sort of show of support. So I think at the moment that the institution as a whole is sort of just about withstanding it, trying to do as much damage limitation as it can.
How would you say Buckingham Palace has handled all of this in your view?
Well, at the moment, it seems very much like they seem to be waiting to see what else comes out in the media and then reacting to it. That's sort of what we had at the end of last week with that statement from the Duke of York. It was quite, it was a very strong personal statement, but I think they haven't been able to do the sort of classic never explain, never complain stance with this because it's too big a story. But I think they'll continue to just see what sort of damage limitation they can do without trying to put out too many personal statements from Prince Andrew.
That's Roya Nika, the royal correspondent for the Sunday Times, speaking to us from London. Lawyers for Epstein's victims are inviting Prince Andrew to tell them his side of the story in person. Here's one of them after today's court proceedings in New York.
With respect to Prince Andrew or anyone else that has made statements, gratuitous statements, if anyone wants to come over here and talk with us and answer real questions that the victims have and that we have on their behalf, we welcome that invitation. I personally extended that invitation to Prince Andrew multiple times. Anytime, we are ready and we have a lot of questions for him.
What do you make of his adamant denials?
They're just bland statements that are not responding to anything. We have specific, pointed questions, and if he really wants to help, then we want his help.
That was Epstein victims lawyer Brad Edwards.